So na dwumadi a ɔma yɛ no ɛnɛ ɔbɛka pain, know your pain. I know your gain. I mean gain is a pain, so your gain wɔ mu deɛ ɛnɛ doctor bɛkyerɛ yɛ. Sɛ obi ɛwɔ pain a ɔsi wɔn nsa mpɛ mu gain ne nim adekode a doctor bɛkyerɛ yɛ no. Ɛnti no ebegya ha na me Dr. Benjamin Bediako Opoku Bediako ne full name admiamo fa sɛ baako pɛ. Ɛna deɛ ɛne no ɛbɛhyia alliance. Yɛmo akɔ aba. Doctor anɔpɛ yi nwumere deɛ yɛmo akɔ aba.
Of our way there, me I'm off back and me say, me mo tea for you so good evening. Or more me up on your 4th day, you're more happy belated Sabbath. And it's a moment that I try one we are to it by your moment and angel.
That I was I think for Safen Abala and so and that I who I did. The Yamiasi and then first day, Doctor Ebaha Betchere upon the and as Obetchere pain who has them. Identify obi na obi enso ya dey emfre obi na dwumadi no entimi enko so said ye ya kan pepe no na answer no be se mo yentwa ba akope bi mra ye ba ya pe na afa de ye jai aha ama doctor na wa hye ne dwumadi ase.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many. The funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real Incommon Getting. Incommon BIA says chain. The dead. As a takre no assume the dead. The real Incommon Getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and our Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real Incommon Getting ya. What brabon tete? We nyan konklonsa. We the real Incommon Getting.
Yo, yamamo akwa ba biem eba era one dwumadi so dwumadi ya to the say health is wealth, protect it no. Aya pomodin ho dwumadi apomodin ho ya pomodin health. Na anwumere bia memenda bia no nsia kono de eye adwuma anase yesua ehon asem ya me aye adom yetimnya doctor hodo eba ha afi etwa ni afi etwa mu nyina na awotwe bia the doctor for ba e ma no be church na ya pomodin ehon sem ena nso nyame aye adon se the medical aka no ena ye ne Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako ena ne nso ye ne eba bedi adwuma yi ena nti de yesense doctor aba enti doctor ene de sabre me ja ha ya ma na dwumadi a de wo ma ye no onso wagya mu e de amai sabre de be ja ha ma
We there mema atiefo nyina adwo eba ene ye dwumadi no eso. Ene Doctor said to me say you can say you can say pain who asem. Most of us and I say yeah what platform you so there. Almost everyone has some amount of pain. But near person who say ya to your no pain, no gain. Let me say ya no pain, no gain at home, but then me person me a different dynamism about that as mantra and I say for use. And then no na ye can is about knowledge, not N-O, but we are talking about K-N-O-W. Knowledge, no. Because at the end of the day, no, my aim is say if we know what pain is, then we gain out of it. And it is no pain, no gain, the path in and out of chronic pain. A lot of us, and then sometimes, and most people have some chronic pain or the other. So the question is, how do we get out of the chronic pain? And how do even people get into pain in the first place? And sana we even get into the chronic part. I think that is one of the things that the path in and out of chronic pain. Now, twice no. Dog, I say one of the things that ye be canon say, see a case pain. Some In painful, nioma about pain. One of them, no, a define pain, no, as and me person me share your screen and next see you kakra. Pain, no, is what we say is a multi-system output. Okay, activated by an individual specific neural signature. Me person me can no ye kasa no kasa me wi amachirem. The neural signature is activated when the brain concludes that the body tissue are in danger and action is required. Near part say pain dear and one particular part of your body and it produces pain. Yes, multi-system, meaning say you find your body now, you have so many systems. You have immune system, you have circulatory system, you have autonomic nervous system. All of this, you have musculoskeletal system. Meaning say a pain, a pain, a multi-system output, there ever. When body no perceive, say it is in danger. And anytime a body no feel say something is dangerous, no. Body no respond by having multi-system. So at some point you get your blood vessels, your circulatory system, no, your musculoskeletal, no, your muscle, no, we say, or nerves, in any way say, no, all this system, no, was one way or the other act in response to any danger. And to me, in simple put, no, anytime be experiencing pain, be when the body may be the simple thing say body no perceive some danger be some particular part. And the pain is just an output to just let you know, say, BBSC, and something has to be done about it. Now, example, back ya memman say, so here is screen here. Your body now, your 45 miles of nerves spread across our body. Now, as you can see, let me say, my cell is screen now. Or more when me say that person can me print it, me de body kakrake. Ebebana nka yehu, but and then a what is screen neso. You have 45 miles of nerves, and it's already nipa we are brain was through her, and I 45 miles of nerve are spread across your body. Now, so 45 miles of nerves, what they do, they say, almost carry information all across your body, and I say, almost the information call. No matter taking information back to the brain. Entisenka military, nke Rebecca said Pentagon a yewa and a command center. Yeah, okrowe to a military ni gada idea friend say intelligence. And now which year Russia and Ukraine and you may buy, there have been a lot of intelligence that is being gathered as to what is happening. The same way, no. What the nerves, 45 miles of nerves, and it does, and they say it gathers intelligence from all parts of your body. And anytime you be picking up information, be a threat to your body, no. Then what happened? And they say like a fire alarm, not to send you fire alarm or high. Where's the neck? All the way into the brain. The ecohormone now, we have 9 areas in your brain. My friend, a friend said the board members, they sit down and then danger na abano. They sit down to kind of like work on deciding on what to do with the intelligence na every field na abano. And assuming say onipa ne nine waha, weti ada doaso. The nerves na senses no perceive that threat and send the threat all the way into the brain for interpretation and as a response. So what we are trying to say is in a nutshell, our tissues themselves do not produce pain. Pain as we know it currently, through the science and it shows pain is 100% produced by the brain in response to a threat from any part of your tissues. And sometimes, you know, and until I say, Obi Nina Wankania, Obi say, oh, it is in your head. Yes, it is probably in your head because your brain is in your head. But a lot of times in the mistake and most clinicians are not saying baby and they say, so because a pain is produced by the brain, I wouldn't say people are lying or they are making, they are not telling the truth. Far from that. The point in it say pain is 100% produced by the brain in response to any threat from any part of your body. And sometimes my example we so what here idea you idea bit to see a friend is a phantom pain. Obi woha maybe through some you will say yakwa ko twa ne nine. You twa ne nine and the nine na you twa no be so experience pain. All those in the nine in ho. So the question is say ne nine no na produce pain na I didn't you twa ne nine if you that's what experience pain. The number one reason is that because the pain is produced by the brain, you know, threat na nine at the brain, danger na nine at the banner. The brain is still perceiving say as a threat and that's all. All those in the 9 year you through. So all those in the 9 year travel and now say brain no has still not gotten over the fact that 9 does not exist in internal. The brain is still producing the pain as a response, you know, to try to get rid of the threat, although the threat is no more. I'm breaking it down and make as another a similar example. I have to say obia, I call it the burglary effect. I have to say obia obi akronfaba ofieda. Sometimes one say yeah, akronfo ne call police for baba be ye osise otifio. But what do you want? Anytime we be a ube refi holding be a say, what bibi kakra no adana ho adentia. Because in your mind, I said, because you say, I can cast me the case near waka na yeden osuro sunsuno. And I say, if you try many be an osuro ayana, osuro so obedaya. And because of that experience in our brain and our body keep a score of any threat that you've experienced. And most times, you know, se threat, you know, eba in so nine one sa wechi we it goes straight to the brain, and the brain interprets how you are supposed to respond to that. Mamema another example. One will say obi nifiese na ne ba na wo ho anase ne krama wo anase ade bi wo obi timi de ye friend say ade friend say mojahye ye kan say o de mojahye otimi bo wura ho no akwa yi akra no ebia na we de ne crash until say ade ne nyina si awie na fe no be hu say sa ne na akra mu abu ne na the question is say ade na at the time and ade ne koso no want pain. The reason is very simple. When any threat and as a danger be about the brain, what the brain does, and then I say it samples your environment because the brain is not receiving information from online. Like me using military as an example, no. The military don't receive intelligence from one source alone. Almost receive intelligence from all almost field agents, you know. And in the same way, like the brain, the brain receives intelligence from the 45 miles of nerves and spread across. But the brain at every point in time need decide which one is more important than the other. And at that time, your brain perceives say, is more important. And the danger message are not probably the brain did not react to it until say, oh yes, say by ansana brain no responded to the danger message. Entina afena wakoko sevu bibi no o experience pain. Mema another example. Obi timi twa kwemu na ne na twisted. But otese car be banner a boy here. What does the person? Nipa need to me feel coin muko jina nche and send who says and nine crana a twisty and a boo. All because say the brain at every point in time control how are we perceive the threat and some of the things. And nothing yaka say pain is 100% produced by the brain in response to a threat from the tissues. Enti me pese etie for ete ase esa. Na some of that neoma ebanene say there are so many things that a man Crawford get into chronic pain. Na me pese me fa time kakra bi na me chechi mu kakra. One, neoma a man Crawford and omunya all this pain, chronic pain omunya no. Ya wadi a friend say adverse childhood experiences. Now, emra wusana na se akra wo ho a akra ne nervous system no anase the 45 miles of nerves akra no obi e sha say a detective danger. Na anytime bia na akra no ebenya any physically and or emotionally unsafe environment, the brain no learn these things and put the whole brain in a protective mode. And I say it put its alarm system on. And so what sometimes you won't say or more ya abuse ebio akrabi and I say wona say obi no ya cry onya abuse onyini pe oben say that abuse ne have effect on them. Others say be timid. It be some way they kind of carry these things with them. And sometimes, and I have to say, obi crack water bottle. At the time when now say a water bottle no ewo hono ebia osano na mepe empty water bottle na can be the achra there. Where say osano ne water bottle ne eti say no empty. Ne nerves no empty and sensitive. That turn fresh. Now, what happened? And say, so Osha senior any adverse childhood effect. Say, ya abuse no or crime, never be a year ni at 13 we say beer. All of a sudden, like in water bottle, we say, we say, bottle no. Now we say, me say, sa childhood, I had to say senses. We say, na a fairly bottle na be drew. Into meaning say already no. The nerves na shall say sensitive just because of abuse or wonya. Not after there, you go on. As we go further in life, one of the things I try to do in we try to find some coping mechanisms to deal with that. Now, all this coping mechanism, we say, with kind of like the nerve is gradually learning all this stress now, right from the young age, And remember, say akrano, you abuse, into the nerve, I learn all this, are very sensitive. Into that intelligence, I gather that intelligence, into already in the brain, have a memory of that abuse. And it has already put akrano on the edge. It's in a akrabi woha, obi tian pe, not niyamashino. And answer, of course, situation be similar to near what suffer in his past or in her past. It comes to mind what they've experienced. Into all of a sudden, not brain, no. Until now, obey so a crabby abusing the dano, a bit me timid. Anytime we'll be shout and as will be a resonating with their past experience and now putting in that state. Now, so obi ya cry na menfans when you some of these childhood experiences are. Na iwanyini onyini no maybe onya health issues no major surgeries, injuries, incorrect diagnosis. All these experiences will put the brain in a state that now the brain I kind of like becoming more sensitive. You go further into nipa no brain na nanka first na empty bottle no. Now yenya first abuse ewa ha asha say fele bottle no onyini no wa sha say nyinya injuries be anyway say some health issues some surgeries be major surgeries into the bottle no eduru ha say then we go further from the health issues onyini no then we come meaning say all of a sudden your nervous system is becoming overprotective. It's sitting on the edge because of all this exposure, this danger now. And remember, say nipa ba ko baby a wote no, o community a wote no, baby a ofie wo no. Akronfo abewia wo. Nti the next time wo ba ye, ya sha say tutu etuo e wo ho. Nti imagine say wote baby a ofie wo, na one ye wia wo, ye tutu tuo wo ho. Meaning say now there's a first red flag, second red flag. Meaning already the next time and it was to honum cry wow kasana wo honye den ento. Enti obi asasenya all these problems right from the word go. When you health issues, what the onyini there's everyday stress as an adult. And when you're already an overprotective nervous system with all these things happening. Now, some of this everyday stress, when you get an overprotective nervous system, it reflects in sometimes the headaches are winning, the stomach aches, the muscle tension, the back aches, heart rate, and so many of these things happen. Because remember, yes, it's a pain, it's a multi-system output, meaning that your muscles are being put on a high alert because of what you've been through. Your blood vessels are being put on high alert because you are already in a fight or flight response. I say, your more blood, heart rate in a cholesterol. Most times, your muscles are tensed up because of all this high alert now, nerves have been put on. Now, everyday stress, is now putting you in this state. Then you go further. Life happens. We have everyday symptoms, certain changes that happen. Relationship status, or divorce, or whatever for all the stress of planning the wedding, and all those things. Bibi to say death, change in employment, COVID by and then a juma cost all of a sudden. Nina no ne juma say ne financial situation assistant. Maybe onini ne worry money you will go through some abusive relationship, some traumatic event. Meaning say all this thing is now say ne bottle na nanka first e feel through hano. Say some of these issues na ba man say about edru ha esoro ha say. And some of these things happen. Then after all this experience, they go through what we call the chronic symptoms. It gets to a point that all these issues right from childhood, builds up to the point whereby the nervous system goes into a stepping point. Into the baby all these issues the cup and I said the bottle is almost full. Into all it takes in say dakro okupeja akunya bi opeja akunya na no o need the strength to carry it. No, take care. Ken was the last drop into the bottle. Now all those things start overflowing. Nasa overflow of some of these phenomena are building up. Is what we see in some of the things that you know. The back pain, the neck pain, the constant neck pain, the constant knee pain, the constant migraines, the constant all those pain, sometimes complex regional pain syndrome, fibromyalgia, and all the names are the man. So the question is, when all these things happen, the nerve already go through what we call learn pathway. But the good thing, and say, your body no one a very plastic. Plastic means it changes based on what you put in. The same way you learn, your brain learn all these things and kept record of this. You can also try to change the way in which you go through. And until sometimes, if you don't take decisive step to change it, hey, it be MRI. You better just MRI no this. You better surgery. But at the end of the surgery, still you are still in pain. Because bear in mind, pain is not just about the tissues. It is a multi-system response. And if you have all these things going on, it can come in so many forms. But the mistake I move a brain and say, when this learn things is going on, instead of doing practical steps to do it, we don't. Your brain is undergoing changes every now and then based on what you put in today. And this person will predict obi how they are going to be the next 2, 3, 5 years. Look at what they do now. It's a good precursor as to what is going to happen ahead of them. And most time, some of this thing is what becomes what we call chronic. So they're always in what I call a downward spiral. The brain going through all these bad habits in any way, say, meaning say, certain things, what I call the body's internal medicine cabinet. Your body now produces certain things that help to control the pain. Your endorphins, your serotonins, all these things are internal pain medicine cabinet. The funny thing is the more now your default is just by pain, the body dries out the internal medicine cabinet. So at some point, I said we take external medicine to kind of counter the internal medicine cabinet because it's not working. But we say, how do we actually bring about the internal medicine cabinet? Having a good support system, having good relationship, having time to laugh, having time to go out and play, hanging out with family. Have you ever have seen say even so be work even pain more? Say for at that point it won't pain. But once all of a sudden we it goes back to that seminar mechanism because at that time, your brain is able to switch off from the danger now into the conversation now more. And for instance, this COVID a lot of people don't have a lot of human interaction. We're saying at this point we are seeing a lot of people with pain. Because first now go to me out, it me call work first because most of these things are the things that actually help to down the pain. Now they don't have an opportunity to do that. And how do you go around it? By getting to understand how pain come about, the knowledge itself, give you an opportunity to do something about it. And how do we actually go about it? One of the things image here, you have the tissues, you have environment. And it's a environment very abusive. Or environment is threat. You're always receiving threat. That environment, coupled with some of the problems that were within your body, it always makes you be in a state of pain. My main example, now me a patient be during this COVID, now about New York. Now me trying for shoulder. And this patient will tell me, say, anytime you're back clinic, I'm and she's okay. But anytime you're back fee, not here TV, not here New York, say what be epicenter, none about Honma, all of a sudden always in any shoulder, no, she claims that she can go all the way to about 8 out of 10 pain in the shoulder. The question was why? The simple answer, and I said, the TV, the things that she's seeing, bring some threat. The brain perceives that threat, and it is ramping up the problem now in the shoulder. So a lot of times, you move say your head graph here, or you go through cycle. When we have the pain experience now, it's either we do something about it, or we solve it, we confront it, and we get out of it. But say why yet some of us goes into a state of catastrophization. What do you say? Hey, you say me into me movie, when you go through that now, for instance, the shoulder now I get stiff. That because I get stiff, anytime you'll be moving, now or getting more pain because the body sees the movement as a threat. Now, because of that threat, it is more imprinted in the brain. So the brain now, any movement by default in the shoulder is seen as a threat. So pain will always be produced. And until you get to the point whereby the nerves, you see all these lines now, the nerves become so sensitive. Say even a simple touch, and that's what we so much. Are there friends say allodynia? To the point they say, so we cry when you shoulder and who cry. Now I say, but I won't find one some kind. I dear friend say allodynia. The reason is the nerves are so sensitive. Say because all this while all the information they get from that part of the shoulder and danger. And in order for the brain to deal with the danger, it has made sure the intelligence now become more sensitive to capture danger chrono so that they can protect it. But say why that is where some of these issues come. Now, me show another diagram back on. Make us and medical say whenever we receive danger information from the tissues, it goes to the brain. Brain, we say, make us say there are 9 areas in the brain that is responsible for pain. Now, 9 areas, and my friend said the board members. Now, board members, meaning say time in any way say a more technical. 9 board members, what they do, say primarily, omunyina would do more mudi. And the more mobile screen, we say my bobo dino of all the 9 areas in the brain, and what they do. Part of intimate say senka business board members, your director of finance, your HR director, your director of operations, your director for this, your board members. Now, what happened? Say at every point in time, any of this part of the brain is responsible for some activity. If at every point in time, they are being drawn into board meetings. In the main fan, say Dr. says to see a very good at finance, into one director of finance. Yeah, creating a company called Brain Incorporated. Brain Incorporated, and your branches all around the United States. And I say Ghana, baby, we free beyond. And the headquarters at DMV, Washington, D.C. Dr. Say to NAA director of finance. And I branch I work Ghana no. There be a danger messages no mo send bray. Anytime be a better from hono. Into your branch no work Ghana is like our shoulder branch of Brain Incorporated. Anytime be all the message we get from that branch in a danger. And because of that, there be a director of finance, director of logistics, there be a yet board meeting trying to figure out how to help Brain Incorporated branch now will show that. Because of that, in Juma as a director of finance, Dr. Setutu, as a now no, he has to divide his time to come to the board meeting and also find time to deal with the finance requirement of the company. And at some point in time, Dr. Setutu office, finance Newman ata and fast pally up. Time I think or the financial projections, not how our marketing for anyway say marketing department director sorry at the board meeting. I say director of finance, they be your friend the board meeting. HR director, they be at the board meeting. And the bedroom baby no. What happened is the 9 areas are you who has say some of them is for focus. And to ways you appear when you're chronic pain, after the say one of the things they complain about, then they say all of a sudden they feel mentally tired. The reason, then they say, the part of the brain that is responsible for focusing is always being drawn into a board meeting to deal with the danger message that is coming from the shoulder. Into the part of focus, also now they started to lose focus. Into director of finance, say, company onya time in dealing with it. Director for marketing director, time as well put the strategy, send a better brain incorporated. You bet marketing, near project, near revenue, no. Say marketing department and strategic meetings and so on and stuff. Because they be at the board meeting. In the director of marketing, part of the brain is for problem solving. Into what happened, and say after the Nipano, always on to keep an appointment, on to solve problems, always on your problems. There's a part of the brain that is also part of these board members. We call the amygdala. It is responsible for fear. And I'm saying danger, now the board members are not to make chance and I can say, okay, director of fear, you need to increase your activity. Director of movement, reduce your activity. Into the bedroom, baby, over the nipano, over there, or move bio. Fear no goes up. Until anytime the person moving the honor, but osro. Because you are increasing the activity of director of fear, you are reducing the activity of director of movement. Your baby, your brain maps. I have a friend said the homunculus. A bedroom baby in that part of the brain, no, and so no. We said nipana, and I'm say oh moving the shoulder, no. The movement, the brain map, na a hornum no. We say na say yes smoked after the whole be blurry. And I'm saying why blurring, and I'm saying all moving the shoulder for a very long time, After the way I saw moving the shoulder, crow, to catch all man and Saswa, but no in the shoulder, or you say, oh, you see the body in the left. One here, all of a sudden, they forget that even that part even exists. Part of the 9 part of the board members is also for memory. And until a bit drew how say everyone. People who are in chronic pain, always say, almost as a fear there. And sometimes I know more. Obi or why drew baby only motivation. They start to lack motivation. Obi or why then some part of the brain is responsible for your stress regulation. And the doctors to say, drew baby always say, the stress level, the cortisol level, no goes through because you are getting danger. Dangerous meaning said, then we need to fight. They are constantly in fight or a flight or fight response. Into checking the cortisol level, a goes through. Say increased cortisol in blood, will cause other systemic effects. The blood pressure causes ne way so when you have vasoconstriction, ways of drew on ultimate na or because say Mano de Sumina so sebio nipa war Ukraine sambre enya sa atama yeto bomb na woda enti na sometimes omo chronic pain after okwa ontimi nyeden enna and the more na wontimi na no wo sori anopa why you agitated into wo sori anopa na obekasa na anadwo nyina online wo kasa ne ho a wo ye ni kuna na so wo ye den yere a wo kasa ne ho na ne buafu enya ono a. So most time, these are the things that actually causes a lot of the problems. And this is a campaign. Basically, these are some of the things that Emma pain ever.
Yo, at here for say baby at your the doctor say yɛbɛkɔ break kakra na afei Dr. Apinsu bi anom na wasan aba abɛtoa so na wɔba na sɛ wɔ question bi a 51093109446 yɛbɛto so wobɛtumi afresh question bi so ɛbɛbisa Dr. na afei watumi atoa so ama yɛnti yɛnkɔtwa ɛhomra ɛbra yɛyɛ commercial yɛaboafoɔ no yɛsɔ ɔmo so ase no yɛnkɔtie ɔmo nkrato mmra yɛba Dr. abɛtoa so.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Banahine Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Banahine Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.
Kwasi efisa oje na doyo wokoda ye na odwumtumi asa wo bi akoda ya adonse ewade asika ye bebre se ye hwe na doye na ye resa ene ne bambo a onyame asida ye bebre esa wo nti no Ghana Choral Music Bishop Sam Asari Bediako ahihye CD fofo kra watuni din asida bebre na CD obedie esontuma for March 12, 2022 shia ye wo North Bronx Ghanaian SDA Church. I work 401 Castle Hill Avenue, Bronx, New York. Time I hear Jumedi 3 p.m. at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Na adwumtofo bebree ebe was Jumedi yase. Yewo Royal Advent Choir, Stephen Owusu and the Echoes, Stephen Befi, Justina Seyusu, John Ajomoni, Efia Ajutumo, New England Ghanaian SDA Church Choir, Lakeview Ghanaian SDA Church Choir, North Bronx Choir, First Ghana Choir, any adwumtofo bebree omokeka ho. Ebia bibi ntumi mba Jumedi nkra, obetuma hwe no Zoom. The Zoom ID is 718-333-7777 and your password is 401401. So ABI want to more information who can inform me. Philip Owusu Achia 646-474-3185. Bafo Sewusu 347-998-7462. Sam Asari Bediako 647-780-3560. Ebia want to watch out the boy you may be a bit mazelia, and also bit my cash up here, my 929-303-1538. You pay live on so I was some Asari Bediako Facebook and YouTube channel. Asida Bebre album lunch with Sam Asari Bediako, aka Bishop. Shia March 12, 2022. Now be in Shira. Nakupon Inshra, Bidiani Obesina Bakote.
Yo, yamamo akwa babiem eba around Jumadie so health is wealth program ana egusu ayeno. Yene Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako ena na nwumre nyame de na ma yene no edi sai dwumai. Asana Dr. Betwa ne lecture answer na edition so question bi bi aba amount for that person bi sa doctor na watchem. Doctor me pass question aba na ye say obisi bi say where is my pain located? Is it in the brain or where?
Okay. So send a bit kind and say Odibakro from ya. Say your brain is located in one place and you move in your traffic. But that and can surgery and gay baby no and your brain has no one specific location. And send a bit kind and untina me spend time need to show the 9 areas. Let me say before say you call commercial no. I showed the 9 areas are responsible for pain. And like I said, pain is a multi-system output when your brain perceives a threat. But there are 9 areas that are responsible to bring about that response. Now your friend the pain. And any particular location in your brain and they are responsible for the pain. There are 9 areas that are responsible. But some 9 areas, no, primarily, no, they are not, or more primary role no, is not about pain. Their primary role no almost so many roles I will play. A bit I'm can't say a B is for problem solving, a B is for focus, a B for stress response, a B for muscle movement, your premotor cortex, all these 9 areas. One of them is also for fear, amygdala. So all these 9 areas, you know, are responsible for pain. So pain is not located at one point. Yes, sir. And can say you say cause you krumana and can walk on us all pain. In the song go mobile was our call those shots and can call your nanky just apart in the free. So pain is not located at one particular, but let me reiterate to say pain no, is produced 100% from the brain in response to a threat. But in response to a threat, threats no, can be a form of physical threat or emotional threat or things we hear from our ears, things we see, and all of them no, can be a threat. Because most time in comfort say, pain. But people can get pain through emotions. Our brain is influenced by our environment, the things that we are exposed to. Me wo patient omo ba me clinic and I say we so me catch say me ba han ma me okay. Me wura madwuma ma all of a sudden me sisi ni yare na aba eye me ya dendende. The question is why? Is the pain located at the office or? The problem is there is something in the office a threat. Anytime be obeko obi an na eden. I trigger the danger no. It could be any colleagues, it could be any boss be, it could be obi wa okofia nikuna na se ne yere ade bi oba into owura hwa no. Na ni pay na eden. They get the threat.
Yeah.
And you know, say no say one take care of that threat now. Now catching and saying it showed that if you take MRI, you see when you're suprascapular oscitis in the way in would your pa surgery or your surgery ni we know that environment that still obey pain. Because pain is not just a one thing. Sometimes it's a more and also it is a multi-system response. And then I'm passing in
Yo, Dr. Medase, you will be sure the question be about I say on the I know so on otifie now uncle baby the whole day not for aqua. Obi na honam nyina ye ne ya na so e de ne deba.
Good. Near the banner say me pese me share me screen kakra. One say the also is me can say your brain map and because of your kind into me pese me share a dear way. Once your body na nkasa no, your idea friend is a circle of tolerance. Obiano, you have how much you can take. Sana your tissues na ST. Obia one capacity. Sebi. Obi betimi akeka nse mu na kire obi de em say o kan asem kakada na ne buafu. Obi wo ha ye beye ne gina obi se ne bonye den emfu. Obia one tolerance level. The same way your tissues, you know, a beer on the tolerance level. Now, this is what happens. With the tolerance level, no, you call the next slide there, make sure. As far as your activities fit within your tolerance, you know, you are okay. And the main fan say, oh, tolerance level, no, this cap, this bottle is cramming. And only your tolerance capacity. Bottle weigh 300 mils, 500 mils. And the ABI tolerance level, no, for sitting here 500. And 500, you know, yes, will be to matter for 3 hours. And to say, as far as these are some of the activities I'm just using as an example. As far as your activities fit within your tolerance, you know, you are okay. But dog, sometimes this is what happens. Sometimes we do too little for too long. Me repeat it. Sometimes we do what? Too little for too long. And nearby say, Obi wohwa ultimate tenacity for a long time. And for first, you know, nanka otimi tenase for 5 hours and sana we bia ne baby ayene ya. Say or tenase for 30 minutes bia na ne sisi yene ya. What your body is trying to tell you, nene say, or back muscles now who use the tenacity at first, it has a higher capacity. Maybe because of exercise, be on our way, activity, be our way, now it put the strength in a higher capacity. Because you've stopped doing all those activities, now capacity for the lower back muscles, now capacity now I reduce it to the point whereby now you've done too little for too long into capacity now reduce. I mean, use Sika as an example. Because a lot of us relate very well with money. Means answer first, now we're making $100,000 a year. COVID about you will lose you are not working so much. It is a say you are not making 100,000, probably you are making like 60,000. Mr. Dr. When I'm one year finance. So first, na me making 100,000. Na say me see can so at baby at 70. Most time, what will you as a financial expert recommend? Can I continue to work and I say spend the way I used to spend and I say me reduce my expenditure.
I say reduce expenditure.
Say me reduce but assuming say me reduce my expenditure, what do I have to do?
So when you say oh yeah, you can open my account.
Me here you become now me make it that income no.
Right.
Yeah. The same thing happens to a tissue. Say at some point in time, our capacity for the back have reduced. Meaning, say you need to increase the capacity by building enough strength or senebeya and then senebeya says yeah the utanasia because you are using it. And because you are using the tissues, they need to have the capacity to actually go through the use now we use But I say,
yeah.
Okano, mami use Okano fuel na woman. Who person will call 100 miles? Also fuel like what car no bet me the way to 20 miles a pair. After the ultra 20 miles and now red light and about the so I was then me do 20 miles no o catch the car and go be because we have fuel lasa. And this up as out the network so I saw where then
fuel
ni bigum. For most of us, that is what we don't want to do. We don't want to buy more fuel into the car, but we expect the car now fuel now it won't be mediate 20 miles per, but we expect to say magically the car should be able to take us to 100 miles, whilst the fuel in the car can only take us to 20 miles.
No.
Once I say, but come on, Rebecca said it doesn't make sense.
Let me say, yeah.
But that is what, when it comes to health, we want to do. What our muscles now are weak. Remember, our muscles now, remember, at the way, now me say me babetre, we say brain map. No. This brain map, no one says a whole brain, no, and the one say body parts, no, and now I show no. Their friend and said the somatocentric, what we call the homunculus, that brain map way, and yet genetically kind of like made, but structurally developed by our activity. Mami explaining. Nyanko point de mai, but it developed based on how you use it. In the body part now we use more, no, that part or that part of the brain it becomes more developed. Anytime maybe you are not using that particular part of the body, no, that part of the brain is shrinks. But yeah. And to say we this part of the brain, no, so we show that no, you are not using it. Once I will hand eso because ninja will hand our brain part and so and say your hand in you're very sensitive. We use our hand in doing so many things. And then that part of the brain and air it covers a wider surface area. Once a name, we use our face to do so many things. And then that part of the brain in a sono. And say if you are not using any part of the body, no, the brain activity start reducing. But
yeah,
and the strength in that part start reducing. And now this was your capacity. Send a midi can share, This used to be your capacity. You had a bigger capacity. Now what tank I am. And you better drive from her to Pennsylvania. Okay, ain't so red because now tank and you have enough room. But because as a CNO, who use an area, you are not building the muscles. And away, so muscles in the as I say a week. Ain't the first and I'm saying muscles in here strong, but with me transfer for 1 hour. Say, I will transfer 20 minutes. And this is what happened. Remember, I said pain is 100% produced by the brain in response to a threat from the tissue. And this is what happened. As soon as they say a movie, this is what happened. As soon as it says they see a first and they see no, you know, a shrink to the point they say see you're walking and I say 20 minutes. Na ya hit it then. Ya hit your mark no. And I'm say I hit your mark and say see no, o hit your mark na o go beyond it na sa nerve na say sensor na o na den a trigger. It triggers a danger message into the brain that, hey, we are under threat. Maybe Dr. Says Tutu is taking us beyond 20 minutes of sitting. We can only tolerate that. And what can I say more than 20 minutes, then the fire alarm it goes off. It sent a danger message to the brain, say we cannot go on, but he's still there. And the pain no better what's sorry. But what I say, to protect that part. So it means it means I need to build those particular areas and its capacity for that. Mamin, go on. Sometimes we've done too little for too long, and your capacity and I say your tolerance never reduce. So then all of a sudden this happens. We go do too much too soon. Into my example. You move a bureau or to and now Dr. Say to two cars, members on the moon page and a conyo, me Marco Janes one and Mrs. Yeding. Eddie. Because I am right, and you see, I have spondylosis L4, L1, then you were bulging discs. Well, I'm on bonum. But the funny thing is that sometimes some of these things were already there. You were not in pain. But this is what happened. Ebia what way? So squat cramp on your day, on squatted. And all of a sudden, you've not squatted and you've not lifted any weight more than 50 pounds for God knows how long. And now, when I also doctor say to 2 moon one. And now also na kunyam na ebia kunyana so weigh 60 pounds. Or back muscles and have not lifted 60 pounds for like 5 years. So at that point, you know, dog, in monetary terms, you know, what are we running? You are running what? A deficit. The deficit now about in terms of your body and the pain now we're there. Because you've done something that is too much than what your tolerance can take. And you know, all this one, all you've saved no $20. And Wakuto coach bag of $500 all of a sudden because we call a sales dog. That's what happened. Into all this one, won't stretch it, won't exercise, won't move, won't build, will strengthen your shoulder, won't build strength your neck, won't build strength your lower back, and who use to into all this one and I heading. Sometimes we use car as an example. What a car name mono, Yanko pon the car name out, what in your car. And the debut also who use so around Vanco servicing. On Vanco servicing. Your cast of a car no cost service, I was me the many time I'm never cost service. A lot of that is the problem with most of us. And Ghana for are the worst corporate because I can say Ghana for because I know say you move a brain or platform so. I don't have time to do an exercise. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do this. Anyway, say. But ya ni if you say, oh, what did now we have time not to service and no now they copy canon. But say one ye nakana your body now also when your time in fan service no. Da ebe break or kwan ho no So busy body now we in a bed. It will be. That is the sad part. You will be, oh, many time I made the best stretch it, many time I made the best exercise. Those things are the things that maintain your body. Mama phone are corporate, papa phone are corporate. We don't want to maintain the body, but your person is sorry on the power. The car should be in good shape to go use. No, but I say, my man, the last example probably.
Yeah.
The other thing I am tell who Esuni. And I'm saying, the most important thing is say you better build the tissues up to be able to do the things into like into a lifting weight now 50 pounds or also to a or to also that one left until you've done too much too soon when you've done too little for too long. How do you expect to say your back muscles will be ready to lift 50 pounds when for a long time all you've lifted is 1 pound? After that, now you are complaining and wondering why your back hurts. Yes, when you hit that threshold, it sends a danger message from the back and say, we've been made to go through something that is more than what we do. So a fire alarm is triggered.
Yeah.
But I say,
yeah.
most times, the other thing too we do, and then I said, this is the next thing we do. Pain na ebeba the pain to say check engine light na eba where you come and the same way you must be that attitude that you car when who check engine light and it tells you that there's something wrong that you need to go fix. Sure. Do you know what some of us do? We go to the mechanic and tell him, say, but you check engine light in the so. Once at the corner, I check engine light in because a lot of us, what we need to do, we want an easy way out. Into the easy way out, and then they say, Mommy, into a lot of us, the easy way out, and then the pain medications, the injections, anyway, saying, sometimes I tell people, say, would there be sorry? Sorry, when you're flat tire. And I'm saying when you're flat tire, instead of and also find the reason why when you're flat tire, this is what we do. Ofa wawa, and I say Costco, and I say no one can be now they are back at the end. Ajo, no one could be able to. A bedroom baby, one here that crow, they say to be that crow, but Nanyamian power, and Yamiam, and you knew about fear. Not so ye base yam near to amount. So he is the near.
Yeah.
Dog may conclude it. Most of that is what we are doing. So we are giving the injections instead of actually dealing with the real reason why. Your body is sending the danger signal. The pain is a danger signal to tell you, say, there's something wrong there. Go find a solution to that. We don't. A drone, and I said, near our injection to numb the pain. We live in a country, and let me give the statistics. The US population forms just 4% of the world population. But we use 80 to 90% of the world's opioids. That is sad.
Wow.
We use 80 to 90% of the world's opioids because we are in a country where we want to work for money, but we don't want to work for our health. In the dog, Manusino, your health is your wealth. And that is why this program is so critical. And I like the team, Your health is your wealth. If it's what tenacity, that's what tenacity all over. I don't see the reason why I saw tenacity for 4 hours. We have time for everything but our health. We have what time at the movies. Yet what time at the games. Yeah, but how many of us do we even have time? So within 30 minutes, within a day, me spend that 30 minutes, to work my body out, to be in a good state. Yeah, no, because any time, my brother. But just like car na mechano, that is the brand new car God gave you when you were born. Car no ebella still based on your service record. And I'm a boy. No. Yeah. Cars are most times they say, yeah, accident in the besia. Or more service anyway. So
yeah.
It's in a body no. And your car on the mouth, brand new. Obi anyone yankopon no man, second hand car. Or my engine brand new. But how long it will take us depends on our service record. So the question is, are you willing to do what is needful to service your car? So 1 year, your default is your body will keep on sending danger messages to the brain, and the brain by default will send pain anytime they perceive any danger. But the back pain, meaning say my back muscles have enough tolerance to say it will take a lot of work for it to trigger a danger message. But you move your back muscles now, you're so weak. Your knee are become so weak to the point to say, your frost test your Danny, your one Nenuntina, your cockroach X-ray MRI, yes, you unya this spondylosis, why? Because we realize that a lot of inactivity is one of the reasons why some of this come in the first place. Inactivity ne say o car na nam say won fan cause service in intina brake pad ne say no fan belt ne tin no hwan mo amonim car mo no, all those things na eden say no, because you are not doing enough service. Say can we take it time and can we service na and can some of these things. But the good thing is say unlike car no, our body is plastic. My main fancy work. Our body keep on changing based on what you put in today. I can tell you for a fact, say there's no lost cause for anyone. Into what platform so? If today you decide to take your own health into your own hands, now ube make it some of these decisive steps, and then you're going to take decisive steps, to change what you're doing and service that car now. I tell you, 5 years from now, make cancer 5 years ago, a few months from now, you start seeing changes. But if at this point, say, 40 years, 50 years, now we need to get it up from sitting to coming up. Imagine yourself the next 20 years, the next 30 years. Imagine your life, how it will be. Asem Sebe.
Yo. Atie for Dr. Opoku Bediako, Opoku Bediako, asibe libre ewa disia odi amaye. Na disia na wachre yempa amsa akase enoma ebia na ye na yenim no ma ese de service ye car no ye huni ye na ye hu mechanic kwa yempa nko na de ye betami ya service. Eno na mse atie for minim se enyina be yenim entie bia ye be se doctor anka on ma no mechre mechanic kwa yempa nko na oye fa ndumum ebia no be boy me ye hu se anoma na yetime afolo ama yetime de djuma said yes. Baby and now see free biano around TV suni and ne opanyini and Dr. Benjamin Opoku Bediako and a oni dijume or campaign once empire. I said no, you are pain, no gain. I know the topic or now we a brainty any DCano. Your man say banato, I bet you baby a young fire pain and co baby and conquest service because the okay you say a lack of service. I made the body now my fresh, but yeah, service body no, and I'm not paying a go through Yan, a beer, ye Doctor, I mean, sure, that was baby around, so that was at here for a high idea you may deal in United States. Yammy, I don't be doing and that's in there. The best atua, the health is a word and also protect is your best atua. You think that we and it's here, Yammy Adoma. Na ibeseshia edasane yada wansi bebrebe.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many. The funny. Now, It's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real Incommon Getting. Incommon BISS chain, the dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real Incommon Getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kai said, so we see the real Incommon Getting, what Brabon Tete, Winyan Konkonsa.